looking at making and hearing sound. Let's have a look, shall we, at the learning objectives. So, identify how sounds are made, associating some of them with something vibrating. Recognise that vibrations from sound travels through a medium to the ear. Now, I think there's quite a bit to go through today, so let's get started. First of all, how do we make sound? Can you think of some ways in which we make sound? Yes, we know Einstein. Einstein barks. It's very annoying, but that's a sound. What are other ways of making sound? Well, we've got a few here, haven't we? Now, here are some examples of objects making sound. What do they all have in common? Well, I think we need to look at each one in turn, because in every example there is something vibrating and we need to identify what it is that's doing the vibrating. So let's start first of all with the top one, this one here. Now in this example, the guitar strings, here are the strings here on the guitar, they vibrate when they're plucked. So when the fingers here pluck the strings vibrate. Got it? So strings vibrating there. What about in a trumpet? Here we've got a trumpet. Now when we blow into it, the air inside the trumpet vibrates. So in this one, the air is vibrating. Nice noisy drum kit here. Now when drums and cymbals are hit, well, when it's a drum, this is called a skin. The skin of the drum, there'll be a skin there, there'll be a skin there. That vibrates, and also metal vibrates, particularly on the cymbal. So what have we had? So far we've had strings vibrating, air vibrating, we've had skins and metal vibrating. What about another one? Now, this looks very loud. When we sing, it's the vocal cords here in our throat that vibrate. So when we sing, it's the vocal cords. You breathe out. You can't sing, breathe. No, you can't do that. It has to be breathing out. So when we sing, we breathe out, the vocal cords in our throat vibrates. I think we've got one more, haven't we? Yes, we have. The piano. Now when we hit the keys on the piano, the strings inside the piano vibrate. If you lift the lid of your piano, look inside, you see lots and lots of strings. When we hit these keys here, it's the strings inside the piano that vibrate. Okay, so can you see that they've all got something in common, and that is vibrating. Okay, the guitar strings vibrate, the air and trumpet vibrates, the skin and metal vibrates, the vocal cords vibrate, and then the strings and the piano vibrate. So everything vibrates. So sound happens when something vibrates. Wow. So how do we actually hear sound? Well, what we need to know is that between the object making the sound, here the trumpet, and the ear, there are many little air particles. In fact, they're so tiny we can't see them, but they are between us and the object vibrating. So here the trumpet's vibrating, and there are air particles between that and our ears. Right, now then, when we blow into the trumpet, it makes the air particles vibrate back and forth. You can see here, the particles don't move, but they vibrate back and forth. As they vibrate back and forth, so they pass on the vibration to the next particle, and that vibrates back and forth. The next one vibrates back and forth. So vibrations are travelling through the air. Eventually, these particle vibrations travel to our ear. So when a noise is made, the particles vibrate, and very quickly, the particle vibrations, there we go, they're all vibrations here, get past our ear, and we hear the sound. As Einstein so rightly says, we said the particles vibrate, they don't actually move, apart from vibrating back and forth, side to side. Okay. Now, sound can travel through brick, it can travel through windows, travel through water, even along railway tracks. In fact, it travels quickest along railway tracks, amazingly. And it's so important it travels through water, because if you are doing synchronized swimming, you can hear the music. Very important. Now, sound needs particles in order to travel. So everything we've said so far tells us that sound needs particles in order to travel. Now that could be a very big problem for a certain group of people. Who are those? They are the astronauts. Now in space there are no air particles, so sound cannot travel through space. So he will not hear any sound in space apart from what comes through his radio from fellow astronauts and from the Earth. There are no air particles in space, so sound cannot travel through space. As Einstein said, space is a vacuum, no air particles, which means we can say quite categorically films are wrong when we hear explosions in space. How many times watch a film and some spaceship blows up or something? You know what I'm talking about. Well, if you hear the sound, that's wrong, because sound particles can't, there are no particles, so sound cannot travel through space. Aha, Mr. Filmmaker, you got it wrong. So, to summarise, what have we got? Well, an object, e.g. drums, vibrate. The air particles start to vibrate. They vibrate, and inside the ear it causes what's called the eardrum to vibrate. And the eardrum vibrates, and as it does so, it passes on the information to our brain, and our brain picks up the vibrations. So that's how we hear. Haven't we covered a lot today? Identify how sounds are made, associating some of them with recognising something vibrating. Yes, we've done that. Big tick. Yee. Recognise that vibrations from sound travels through a medium. That means air. We say the word medium, or it could be water. So air and water are medium to the ear. Okay? Right, keyword time. Vibrating. Moving back and forth very fast, vibrations create sound. And the eardrum is what vibrates inside the ear and passes a message to the brain. So if you haven't got this copied down, pause the video now and put them into your book or paper. Okay, it is hooray, hooray, hooray. It is quiz time, our favourite time of day. Indeed. Right, 3 questions. 1. Can sound travel through a vacuum, i.e. through space? Yes, no, or sometimes. What happens to air particles when sound travels through them? They stay still, they disappear, or they vibrate. And what vibrates in our throat when we sing? Is it vocal cords, the tongue, or the lungs? So, pause the video now, have a go, and I'll give you the answers in just a second. Okay, here's the answers. How'd you get on? Can sound travel through a vacuum, i.e. space? No. Big no there. What happens to air particles when sound travels through them? They vibrate. And what vibrates in our throat when we sing? The vocal cords. That was bad singing. Anyway, hope you got 3 out of 3. I expect you to, and I'm going to give you a round of applause in anticipation. Well done. So, from Einstein and myself, it's goodbye, and we'll see you again in another video very soon. So, bye-bye for now.